Hey there yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my happy place, the Yarn Corner here on Vancouver Island in Canada. So welcome on this hot Saturday. It is August the 6th, 2022 and this is video number 152. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. It's been 18 days since I last posted, so I do apologize. I've been super busy with my mum and her husband Robert, who arrived from Australia. They're our house guests for the next 3 weeks. We've had 2.5 weeks together already and we've enjoyed the community, exploring restaurants and going on hikes. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm not too sure how often I can get in over that time that they're here to broadcast. So I am saying I'm really sorry, but there might be a little bit of a long delay between videos for the summer period. Anyway, as you can see by the title down below, I will be talking about my experience traveling when I had recently gone away to a cruise. Me and my husband went sailing around the Caribbean with our two best friends. And I want to talk about what I took on the plane journey, what kind of restrictions that I kind of discovered along the way, some funny stories, and then these wonderful clips that I want to show as well of our trip and talk to you about where we visited. So you might have noticed something here in the crafting room which is a little different. It's I just purchased my first form. I guess it's a male form that I can use to size garments on, and this one is a really good one because it can be dialed to different sizes. It was very hard for me to find a mannequin size form, dress form that I could size to my own. I'm a 43-inch chest circumference, and a lot of the ones that I was finding were quite smaller. But I'll talk more a bit about that in another podcast that I am going to talk about new acquisitions, and this is one of them here. So I haven't given this mannequin or form a name yet, so if you've got some suggestions, please add them down below. The shawl that the mannequin is wearing right now is the Rose Matrix shawl by Knitting Fever, and I did that maybe about, I'm going to say maybe 8 to 10 months ago, and it was a wonderful learn for me. So yeah, getting on now to talking about crafting whilst on holidays and what I had to prepare before going into the airport, through the security scanners and then on through customs scanners. So there were a few different places where our bags that we were taking onto the plane were being scanned. We started our journey on our trip from where we live here in British Columbia to Orlando on July the 1st, 2022, so it was Canada Day, and all of our flights were with West Jet, so we had to stop off in Calgary and reconnect to another plane that was going to fly directly into Orlando. And West Jet is a very economic choice of airlines. They don't have any bells and whistles, so I was going to be up in the air for 6+ hours thinking to myself, I'm going to go crazy because there is no entertainment. They don't have a meal service. There's no interruption. So I need to bring a project to work on. But I wasn't too sure about what kind of things they were going to allow on the plane itself, inside the carriage, like as carry-on. So I was thinking I'm going to pack in all of my little notions, scissors, anything that's sharp like a needle, into a little pouch, my notions pouch, and I'll check this in my check-on luggage and just take my little knitting needles that I was going to use for a project so that I could knit my project while I was up in the air. And this will follow me on if I needed to sew on loose ends, sew up loose ends, or cut the yarn. I could have this waiting inside of my check-on luggage at the end of the flights and then finish off my project. So that's what I was intending to do, but accidentally this remained in my carry-on, not my check-on bag, and I didn't realize that this was in my carry-on. So I used my trusty backpack and I loaded up all of the project bag, the little knitting needle, and 2 balls of yarn because I wasn't going to work on too many things. The idea was to get away and just enjoy my friends and hubby. And so I just wanted to do something on the plane while I was just sitting there. So I had to go through gate security, which is the scanner that scans your passenger passenger carry-on bags. And I had to also go through US Customs. The first airport that we were at, they scanned my bag and they pulled me aside and said, hey, there's something in here that is registering on our machine as something sharp. Can you please open your bag? Did you pack anything sharp? And I said, I don't think I did. So out came the notions pouch. And the security guard says, there's something in here that we need to look at. And I'm like, oh, it's the scissors. And I also had a hook here and some needles. I wasn't sure how strict that they would be. So they pulled out my knitting needle, my scissors. Oh my goodness, I was really embarrassed about it. I thought that I was going to lose my favorite pair of scissors that was graciously sent to me by Emmy Phillips. And they measured it. They measured the blades against a silhouette. And fortunately for me, the blades weren't long enough to confiscate. So they gave the scissors back to me. So Emmy, I still have the scissors. Also, the notions pouch here is from a friend as well, and they're from Australia. And I believe I got this from, it was Justine and Simone. I really love this pouch. It's come with me across the border now into other countries. So that was allowed to go back into my bag, and I was very, very excited and happy that they continued on with me through the journey and back home. The other thing that I did not think about when I was picking a project bag to throw in those couple of skeins and that one project that I was going to work on the plane was they've also pulled out the bag to read the message. Yarned and dangerous. Now, with my deadly sharp scissors and my yarned and dangerous project bag, I was feeling even so embarrassed about not even having thought about what project bag that I had put in here. But the person who was checking my bag said, oh, and then put it back. There was no real big issue with the message, so that was cool. And this was a wonderful gift from Pamela. Now, she also has a YouTube channel. I'll link it down below. It's Pamela's Crochet and Knit Corner. Pamela, it came back home with me too. So that is awesome. Now for the project. Here is what I worked on. I took with me some higher, which is a set of knitting needles, and they're in a circular set, and 9 inches all the way around. So I cast on 44 or 40 stitches. I can't quite remember now. And I knit a tube for a scarf. And it measures 6 feet in length, probably around, I'm going to say, maybe 6 inches in width, or 5 to 6 inches in width. And yeah, I used the 2 balls that I had brought with me were Hirschner's Worsted 8 in their Stripes series, and the colorway is called Seashell. Really, really nice yarn to use. Now, I knew from experience of knitting another of the Worsted 8 that I wouldn't have enough to do the 6 foot length scarf, so I had to complement with another yarn, and I chose this yarn here that I sporadically put throughout the stripes from the Seashell colorway. Now, this yarn that I had chosen is also a worsted or 4-weight yarn, but it came from Mary Maxim in a mystery box, and I didn't have the label, so I can't tell you what it was. And It is in a solid color. It's kind of a greenish blue, pastel, almost like a gelati color. I thought that worked in really well with the colors that went through this stripe. So I continually used it all the way through. I really like it. And I did a hat. Now, this is the hat here in the same yarn that I had. And I used a 4.5 set of circular needles. These, I believe, were Chagu, and they were using my Chagu interchangeable. So I had used the 16-inch cable set with the needle tips. And there's a decrease on the top. And again, I used a combination of the same 2 yarns that I had on my holiday, bringing up the color through the piece as I was working it up. So there's some joining there as it goes around. Not too bad with the jogging. I think there is a little bit of it. I'm not too sure. There's a couple of jogs here and there throughout the piece, but nothing too serious. I had created these 2 pieces in celebration of Seta's 2022 calendar cow. Seta is a YouTuber here, a great craftsy person, and I'll put her channel down below. It is called Seta's Place. She put together a calendar, and each month celebrates a crafty person here, either has a YouTube channel or is a supporter of us here on YouTube. And the celebrated crafter is Barbara for the month of May. So I am catching up. I'm so far behind. But Barbara, this is the colors that were inspired by your photograph that you submitted for Seta's calendar. And if you don't know who Barbara is, she supports a lot of YouTubers here and always comments when she watches them. And she lives on a houseboat, and I believe her hub is in Florida. So yeah, this is to celebrate Barbara. And I absolutely loved the colors. When I saw the worsted weight seashell colorway, I thought that's totally going to do the job for Barbara's photograph. Now, also the hat, same colors. And these are both going to be sent over to Rose from Rose Likes Crochet. She's collecting donations for a charitable organization she supports called Wings in her Chicago neighborhood. And they're looking for hats and scarves or hats and cowl sets. And I will put down below Rose's channel if you are interested in finding out more details. Wings is an organization that helps people who have suffered from domestic violence, and on occasion when the people arrive, they come with nothing. So I think the hats and scarf sets will be well received and used for people who are in need of them. So yep, that's going to Rose. The little bit left on the ball was this much, which I will put into a scrappy project. So if you're looking to travel on a plane journey and you're wanting to check in before you are going to use an airlines, maybe just see what the regulations are for certain implements like your knitting needles or your scissor lengths, because they may change from country to country, and also airlines to airlines. So maybe just give them a call, find out what their protocols are before going, because I was lucky and fortunate enough that I didn't lose any of my precious gifts that people have sent me, and I have them safely at home now, and they did the job really well when I was traveling. I guess I got to talk to you about the ship because it was a big part of the whole week that we sailed around the Caribbean. It was called the Harmony of the Seas, and it is a Royal Caribbean ship. It was well appointed and organized into areas. I would say that the front of the ship was for the quieter traveler, not wanting to be disrupted or, having kids screaming or whatever with excitement. So that was a really nice area. There was the middle part of the ship where the families with young kids would have their little sporting, like wet zone area, as well as snack bar and music and dancing lessons. Then the back of the ship was more for, I would say, the young adult teenager kind of genre or age bracket, where they had ping pong tables, the climbing wall, the zip line. They had a couple of fancy slides as well, which I have got lots of footage of these things. So I'm going to montage a couple of things together at the end, and you'll see just how well appointed the ship was. Now, well appointed, but also 6,000 passengers. It was a colossal ship. Everything had to be mass produced. The food, I would say, also the time that each of the staff members had was quite restricted as well. In my past travels on cruises, a bar person would probably know who you were or remember a face or knew that you liked a certain drink a certain way and maybe would say, "Hey, Gary, we haven't seen you here tonight. I know that you like milk in your coffee," or whatever. But this was so many people. I don't blame the staff for not knowing. And plus the time crunch on when they had to get from, I guess, one appointment to the next was quite squished, so they didn't have time to really talk and get to know you. So that's one downfall, I guess, of a massive ship of that size. We were amazed that the thing could float. It was so big. 6,000 passengers, 3,000 crew, 9,000 people on board. Astounding, really defying physics in my brain. And each of the ports that we went to, once everyone spilled out into the little cities or the streets or wherever we were, it felt like there was this mass wave of people. But a couple of the spots that we went to were really lovely. So I'll talk to you about the destinations that we landed at. So we were in Coco Cay, which is an island that I think Royal Caribbean must rent or own, or it's exclusive to their ship that they can send their passengers off to enjoy a theme park using their, I guess they had some attractions like water slides and zip lines and all that sort of stuff. We didn't go into those attractions. We just wanted to lounge on the beach. So we just floated around and it was wonderful. The next destination was Nassau, and that's where it was a bit of a gong show. There were 6 ships in port that day, and thinking of the size of capacity of our ship alone and then adding that by 6 or multiplying it by 6, it just was in flux with too many people, and just getting off the ships was like a gong show. So we didn't really enjoy Nassau that much because of the crowds. The next destination was Jamaica, and I can't remember what the port name was for that destination, but we ended up doing an excursion that day, and the excursion unfortunately didn't work out that well. We were meant to go on a catamaran and then enjoy a day of snorkeling above coral, and I guess the brochure didn't fit the description of the real thing that we got, so that was a bit disappointing, but we enjoyed it. We look back and laugh at that day. It was like so funny that we had fun with it anyway. So we worked with it and it was fine. The final spot that we landed in was Haiti, and it was a port called Labadee, and that was our most favorite port. It was only our ship that was in, so it didn't have that issue with, like I mentioned, in Nassau. It was us enjoying the facilities of a couple of swim beaches, and we loved the beach so much that we stayed in the water floating around. We had a palapa in the ocean, and that was a little hut umbrella thing that allowed us to get some shade, and the water was just beautiful. kind of a tempered temperature of the water, and one wonderfully like clear and also buoyant. So floating around was super easy. You didn't need any noodles, or you didn't need any kind of like, you know, flotation devices. You just sort of like, you lift your legs up and then you were just sitting there in this wonderful salt water concoction. It was great. Overall, we had a blast. We had a great time. We would do another cruise again. So there's one more thing I want to talk about before I go and cut into the clips that I've got on my travels. I want to share those with you because some of those were amazing places that I visited. And it's this project here. I did talk about it in a previous video, but it wasn't finished. I just want to showcase that it is finished now, and it worked out really lovely. So I housed it in this bag here. It is I Rescue Yarn. I'm kind of a hero. It was generously gifted to me by my friend Emmy Phillips, and I love this bag so much. So let's take a look at the project. It's a crocheted shawl from Bag-O-Day. So Crystal is the creator of this wonderful design, and it's an easy crocheted shawl pattern by Bag-O-Day Crochet. Now that's the name of the full title. I'll link the tutorial that Crystal does, which helped me a lot out when I was reading the pattern. Just to get going, I love watching Crystal anyway, so she makes every project that I have tried easy to get through. And so I have the pattern. I'll also link the pattern down below if you want to go directly to the pattern and purchase that. So the yarn that I used was two held together. I did run out of this one, and I finished the border, which is little picots, in this one. So what were they? Let's take a look. Red Heart, It's a Wrap Sprinkles was one. And this one was in a lovely colorway, which went from a kind of a tropical blue color all the way through to a yellow green. And you'll see in a moment how well that transitioned. It was paired with a yarn that I got, Yarnby Rainbow Rhapsody, and the colorway was Ivy League, which is kind of like a grayish color that starts from a very light pale gray and goes to a kind of a mid to light gray on the outside of the cake. And here it is. Da 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 da. It's wonderful, fully reversible, because I believe it's only a 2-row repeat. And after you do the setup rows, it then is back and forth as a 2-row repeat. And I love the weathered quality that the two created together in the mull, and it's nice and drapey. I did use a big hook. I used a 6mm, and as I said, I ran out of the I ran out of the Red Heart, It's a Wrap, so it finished here at the yellow part, and then I just used the gray leftovers of the Rhapsody from Yarnby to do the picots. That's the bordering now. I'll just show you. There we go. Now I'm going to dress my man form in this wonderful shawl, and it is very simple to make, but it looks like a lot of work in it, like a lot of calculations, but it's one of Crystal's amazing abilities is to create something that is so easy to follow and learn how to do. So she's an excellent teacher, and I'm going to put that on my form for the next video. With that catches you up on everything, and I don't want to waste any more time. I want to cut through so that you can see the compilation of videos of our travels, some fun moments, some great exploration of the beaches that we're on, and yeah, so enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. I don't know when that's going to be, but enjoy the rest of your summer if you're in the northern hemisphere, and if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, enjoying your colder months. Stay warm and enjoy your indoor activities. I will speak to you and see you in the next one. Bye for now.